In our religion, it has got lost in translation. There are some high-valued men in the Bible that had a lot of favor from God by having multiple wives and multiple concubines. So you can't sit up here and say you want a man of God and not acknowledge the fact that, oh, in this society it's socially accepted. But in the Bible, when you talk about David, when you talk about Solomon, the the wisest person in all of earth, he had the most wives anybody has ever had, and concubines. And when David was in battle, he would go back to not only to save his wives, but to go back and protect his concubines.
Yo, what's going on? Pilgrims in the earth. First and foremost, all praises be to the Most High. Got to start it off right, you know. Second off, thank you to everybody supporting. Whether it's a like, a share, or a subscription, I appreciate it. All support is good support. You know, I'm not looking to get no money off this channel or none of that, just to get the message out there. But anyway, let's jump right into it. I had this on my mind, right? Why do we support, why do we shame polygyny? Polygyny, which is multiple wives. We shame polygyny, but we don't shame multiple baby daddies or baby fathers or children fathers. It seems like our culture has embraced this whole broken family thing, you know, and me personally, I do believe fathers having multiple baby mamas is a result of broken homes also. So don't come at me, you know. But I'm saying, why do we embrace multiple baby daddies, but we shame polygyny? And first off, speaking to the whole Christianity community, the Israelite community, a lot of people be gun-ho about, oh, no, you know, you brothers, it's all these standards. Oh, do you have a mansion for your wife? It didn't work like that. It ain't work like that, baby girl. I'm actually, excuse me. I'm actually starting to realize, living in an East African country, where polygyny is exercised at a very popular high level. It's very common here. Let me just help people understand. Everybody that practiced polygyny was not rich. Let's just start right there. I see brothers all the time who, of course, they provide for their wives. You know, they might live in a shack. You know what I'm saying? But they have, you know, the things that they need. But I think sisters in America, they kind of look at it like, okay, if I'm gonna be involved in polygyny, you gotta have a big mansion. The other sister gotta have a mansion over here. It don't work like that. Culturally, I might say, from what I see. But I think it's this standard of. I think women say that out of defense. I think they say that out of fear. I think they say that out of fear of competition. A lot of us, we haven't been raised in our proper roles. For example, a lot of us men wasn't raised as fathers. I mean, not fathers, but in our masculine roles. So if I'm a young man and I'm insecure about, you know, I might see a man who can change a tire, who can fix whatever the case may be. He's a handyman. And I can't do that. And that's a masculine role typically for a man. That would have some type of insecurity on a man who don't know how to do that. But in the reverse, I think women, if you look at historically, women has always wanted the top litter for the pick of the litter for a man, what you call hypergamy. You know, they wanted the top man. And I don't care how you cut it, women always chased the man who had all the women. I've seen this so many times. Not even men who had a whole lot of finances, but more so it can be men who were physically attracted to women. A lot of women like them. The ladies, man. I specifically, I have my days or whatever, but a lot of women just want men that have a lot of women. Of course, it's not the right way. A lot of them are doing it, but I'm just giving an example. But yeah, man, I've seen so many women speak out against it, where they try to shame that culture. But my question is, if that's not something you want to do or you're not into, why do you shame it? But then you support multiple baby daddies. You know what I'm saying? You can't have both. You can't have both. In my opinion, I believe that of course, whatever somebody do, that's their business. In my personal opinion, I believe if you're gonna deal with polygyny, you should have it done righteously. For example, marriage. For example, if I want to take a young lady and I want her to, I want to marry her, I would typically go to her father. You get what I'm saying? Or we would have a contractual agreement that we would be married. So I think that would also apply to a polygynous situation. Of course, back then you had concubines and all these different things. Now, I think me and my wife was actually having a conversation. She asked me, like, well, what is a concubine and what separates a concubine? What separates a concubine from actual? What separates concubine from actual whoremonger? So my answer to her, a concubine would be like a modern day side chick, right? A lot of brothers have situations where you'll have your wife and you had this woman on the side, but for years she's been around to the point where she was like your girlfriend, but you had a wife. Of course, a lot of kings and all these, they had many concubines. That's just something that men of valor, men of respect, men of high stature, they've always had. You're not going to stop that. And of course, what I do see is people are trying to give politically correct answers when it comes to a lot of these scriptures in the Bible, which is this not a Bible topic, but I'm just saying when you talk about polygyny, the Bible always comes up. I don't care how you cut it, the Bible supports polygyny. It is what it is. But anyway, yeah, so polygyny was accepted in the Bible. It just is what it is. Take it or leave it. But like I say, I don't see a big deal about it, because whether I support it or I don't support it, what somebody do next door, what is that my business? You know what I'm saying? But I see a lot of brothers, what you would call pandering, they try to say certain things to condemn it, to get attention, and like I say, a lot of people want to be politically correct, because let's say if somebody said, yes, polygyny is accepted in the Bible, sisters if sisters with it, then that's what they're going to do. I will respect that. What they're saying is, okay, yeah, polygyny, it might be good in the Bible, but all these brothers, all they want to do is take a woman, and you bringing up all these horror stories. Why do you have to bring the horror stories? If it's lawful, why? Why do you have to bring horror stories about polygyny if it's right there? Just let the scriptures do the teaching or do the talking. You know what I'm saying? And for example, a lot of these churches or Israelite congregations, if let's say a man righteously took two women as his wives, could be the father, president, everything. If you show up to their doorsteps to join their congregation or even be present for one of their classes or whatsoever, will you be accepted? Will you be accepted, or have they deemed that as unlawful? And if they deem that as unlawful, can they prove that in the Bible? What I believe personally, I think there's a lot of mistranslations. I know we always talk about the KJV as, it's emphatically, it can't be beat. It's no contradictions, no nothing, no mistranslation, no none of that. But we have to be totally honest. Some of these things are just not cut dry, clear cut dry. A lot of stuff we have to examine. But one thing's for sure, culture don't lie. Not saying culture is always right, because culturally we eat swine. You get what I'm saying? But one thing's for sure you can't deny is culturally, polygyny is a part of culture always. I don't care if you're talking about American history, you're talking about African history. It's always been in the culture. Yeah, so my bad, y'all. I had to come right back with it. But anyway, let's continue. Yeah, so yeah, man. Once again, why do we shame polygyny, but we allow or we celebrate multiple baby fathers? When I say celebrate, for example, you have I done seen women with 6, 7 kids, multiple baby fathers across the board. I'm not shaming. I'm not shaming. If you have multiple baby fathers due to different circumstances, that's your business. But I've seen women who had 3, 4, 5 baby fathers, and they still have baby showers. They still have the support from the baby showers. So you have the family coming together and supporting, like, hey, yeah, girl, with no father present. So we'll support that, but we'll shame multiple baby fathers. Now, let me be transparent, because women will say, well, why do we allow multiple wives, but what's different about multiple husbands for women? Well, there's a couple things wrong with that. Number one, men are more territorial, as we've seen in history. We just have to accept there are double standards in life between men and women, and I think society has socially programmed us to make us think that we are the same. We're not the same. Men biologically, when you look at the way the men produce sperm, the way women can only get pregnant one time at a time. When God made Adam, he told Adam to be fruitful and what? Multiply the earth. Well, people would say, well, what about now? We already have a lot of people. Okay, well, what about the prophetic scripture in Isaiah 4:1, which a lot of people would politically like to explain? Well, brother, that's not talking about multiple wives. Nah, man, cut it out. So you telling me this one man who have these 7 women, they're just going to say, hey, we just want to be called by your name. We don't, come on, man. We got to stop lying. We got to stop lying to these women. And that's the problem. A lot of us lie to these women and get them the politically correct answers, so you can get all the support from because the Christian community, the majority of our people are coming out of the Christian community, and they want to hear smooth things, and a lot of sisters, if you told them that the Bible supports that, they will walk up out your church immediately. Meanwhile, these brothers is exercising it anyway. They just not doing it righteously. So I think if we had a standard of righteous polygyny, it would probably heal our whole communities, because we have so much of broken families. But but yeah, the difference, going back to the difference, a woman just taking on these multiple men just never been historically a normal thing. It just hasn't. Multiple men entering a woman's body, it comes with a lot of different complications. Like I mentioned, men are very territorial. That can be life or death, and it can be life or death for women also. But with men, it's a little different. When a man takes hold of a woman, that becomes his. As in the Bible, it called a wife a possession. That's very controversial in itself. But yeah, when you're dealing with the culture of America and the Western world, ideology of these topics, it's like I say, it's very controversial. But I mean, look at American culture in itself. You can't have multiple wives, but a man can marry a man, or a woman can marry a woman. So that doesn't constitute what's right or wrong. But Yeah, I believe a lot of matter of fact, I seen a post that one sister made one time. She said all you women who have multiple baby fathers, you might want to start to consider polygyny. And all these sisters, man, they threw stones and they threw internet stones all at that girl, man. I was like, wow. But I thought about it and it actually makes perfect sense because there are not enough men out there for women. Men who will be willing to accept a sister that have multiple baby fathers because I see these women daily on the internet complaining there are no good men, there are no good men. Number one, you're not doing the necessary work on yourself. But number two, there might be women who made mistakes in the past who do have multiple baby fathers. Are you telling me they're gonna get their desired man, and all these women are gonna get a husband, and everything is gonna be okay? Or are we living in the world where the Most High made more women than men, and there has been polygyny in our culture, specifically the black culture or the African culture? Hey man, this is really just a conversation. You know, I know brothers gonna hear, brothers and sisters gonna hear this. Oh, Cortez going off. You heard him, he was talking about polygyny. But why do we think like that? Why do we think like that when it's clearly there? You get what I'm saying? But if you seen a sister in your congregation or in your family, they have a child with two different men, you don't question that, but you'll question even the thought of me even having a conversation. That's crazy. So again, why do we shame polygyny, but we accept multiple baby daddies? Because it seems to me it's dysfunction all the way around and all across the board. But yeah, man, hit me in the comments, tell me what y'all think, and answer the question. You know, I'm not giving y'all all these breakdowns and all that, how it's right or wrong. I really just want to know, why do we shame polygyny, but we accept multiple baby fathers? Tell me what you think.